group of children in a Sunday school class were drawing a depiction of the gospel that I just proclaimed, and this one little boy ended up drawing what looked like a plane, and there in the plane there were 3 people sitting in the back and 1 in the front. And so the catechist said, well, can you tell me who are these people? And he said, well, first of all, it's the flight into Egypt, so it's a plane. Of course, planes didn't exist at the time of Jesus. He said, and those 3 people, that's Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. He goes, oh, that's wonderful. And who's this other person? He said, that's Pontius the Pilate. I think he got his seasons mixed up a little bit. We talk more about him during Easter time, not during Christmas time. But I think during Christmas we have a wonderful sense, or we kind of romanticize about the Holy Family. But our reading tells us that suffering was not absent from their lives. You know, just think about their lives, of how they had just had this child had gifts bestowed on them, probably wondering in this beautiful mystery of what life would be for their family. And all of a sudden, this dream comes to Joseph, and he's told to go and take the child to a strange land. It's very interesting to go there to Egypt. And really, what did Joseph know about Egypt? But he did what he was told. Why? Because as we heard in last Sunday's gospel, Joseph was obedient. Joseph was obedient to this dream that he had where the angel appeared to him. Joseph was obedient when he was told, you can now go back and bring the child there. And then they settled in the place called Nazareth. So their family had issues. The child was not born in the normal place. They had to leave their home. When the child was 12, they lost the child there. They were separated from him in the temple. So I'm sure that there were tears that were shed in the life of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And I think that it's really reminiscent of the fact that family life brings great joy, but family life can also bring suffering. Family life can also bring challenge. And very often, again, we romanticize maybe even about our own family. But it's up to us to make sure that we realize that we are going to have suffering. The people that we love the most are also the people that sometimes can hurt us the most. And I know that that happens because when we speak of family today, there's a lot of different meanings of family. We have, yes, your traditional family, a traditional family, whether it be of a couple of children, whether it be 17 children, it does not matter. We know that the Lord has blessed family life with children. Maybe your family is a family of 1, because the single life is a valid vocation. We very often forget that, but some people are called to a single life. Maybe your family is a blended family. Maybe your family has been mixed between 2 families. Maybe your family has suffered the sadness of divorce. Maybe your family has not turned out the way that you expected them to turn out. Whatever it might be, that's all part of this is what we call life. And in life, there's going to be those joys and there's going to be those sufferings. But really, what are we called to do as a family but set a vision for our family? I think this is what is probably missing in a lot of homes today, is a sense of what is our family going to be? What would we like our family to be? You probably set financial goals, and maybe you set relationship goals, and you set a schedule of goals. But do you set spiritual goals for your family? Does your family have the opportunity to pray together, or is that something that, well, we put that on the shelf, we only take it out on Sunday, and we put it back up on the shelf? I'm glad that you're here on Sunday. But what about the rest of the week? What about the opportunity to enjoy the gift of the Lord, intimacy with the Lord? Because if we all have an intimacy with the Lord, an individual relationship, then who should we be sharing that with? When we have something good, we want to share it with someone else. And so I think that that sense of praying together, especially if there is challenge in the family and difficulty, even more important to pray together, to let the other people in your family, in your home, know what is going on in your life? Because family life is very complicated. Again, it is a challenge. It is not easy. And I especially pray for families that are challenged, that have the sadness of separation, the sadness perhaps of children who maybe don't get along. I know something that bothers a lot of parents is when their children perhaps have abandoned the faith or any faith, or say, I don't believe in God, and you think, wow, I brought my child up in the faith and now they don't even go to church, and they see it as a slap in the face. Again, that gift of prayer is so important. You know, what are we called to do? As St. Paul, he gives very good advice in the second reading. Talks about qualities that are needed in a family, and that is kindness, humility, gentleness, and above all, forgiveness. That we have to be able to forgive, we have to be able to move forward. We have to be able to realize that the family unit, again, is going to have challenges. How are we going to be strong enough to put on some armor to face the difficulties that come? And when the devil wants to come knocking on your home's door, are you going to be strong enough to be able to say, no, I'm not going to let you in? But again, from that suffering can also come resurrection. And maybe there's new life, and there is the gift of hope for the future. I reflected this past week a little bit on my own family, and I realized that as I was going over, I visited with my brother in St. Petersburg for a couple of days. It was nice to visit with him, and I have to realize that that kind of made my Christmas complete. That I was here with my Annunciation family for Christmas, but to go and to see him have made it complete. Why? Because we share a history together. And to be able to talk a little bit about Christmases past and about our family, there was something kind of special about that. And to be able to look in where he lives and to see things from my own past that belong to my mother or whatnot. Again, it brings a sense of completeness. We cannot erase the past. And very often, I think, in family life, people want to erase the past. You cannot. The people that you grew up with, your family of origin, they are the people that know you the best. And sometimes they are the ones that can criticize the best, too. And that's why it hurts sometimes even more. But it was a blessing to be able to be there with my brother, because I realized I have a very small family. And so to just have the two of us there to share, it was a wonderful opportunity. I once heard that our family is very much like a table. And I hope that your family has a meal together, really every night. Sometimes families are all going different ways. I think that's one of the breakdowns in the family, is they do not eat together or converse together. I kind of wonder what my mother and father would have done with cell phones, probably. And I would have to say they would have had a basket there at the kitchen and made us put them in it beforehand, because when the phone would ring, when I was growing up, my father would answer it. And he would say, oh, you want to speak with Stephen? Okay, that's fine. He'll call you back in 2 hours when we're finished with our dinner, because that was important. Their thought was, this is our time together. And I think that that was something that they helped to create. And I wasn't always happy about that. That's just a typical child. But that's what family life is about, is sacrifice. St. Paul also talks about husbands, love your wives. Wives, be subordinate to your husband. That always gets a little bit of ire up. What do you mean I'm supposed to be subordinate or beneath my husband? That's not what that means. That is not what St. Paul was saying. What he was saying was that in relationship there is sacrifice. And being subordinate means you're going to have to sacrifice to love. That our needs sometimes get put aside in order to promote and to help the needs of another. I think the husbands there have the harder job. According to St. Paul, it says, husbands, love your wives. What does love mean? Love, according to our faith, is giving our life for someone. And that includes on the cross. Again, it's that sense of sacrifice. So today, as we celebrate this gift of the Holy Family, what a wonderful opportunity to think of your own family, reflect upon your family, ask God for help for what you need help for. Maybe pray for the gift or the grace of being forgiving, to be more kind, to be gentle, to be more humble. Perhaps those are qualities that are needed in your own family unit. And maybe pray for the gift of hope, that what we see today in many families crumbling or happening, that they are able to recapture a sense of family, to redefine what the family is for them, to be able to realize the gift that God gave us in our family, and to really realize it is the place that we learn, it is where we grow, it is where we mature, and that parents can be able to give that to their children in a very beautiful and loving way. I once heard it said that a happy family is an early heaven. A happy family is an early heaven. What are you doing to ensure that you have a happy family?